Hello DIY lovers, welcome to the channel. As you all know, this channel is all about doing it yourself. Yes, fashion DIYs, from dressmaking, bag making, fashion accessories, any kind of fashion accessories, from turban making, hat making, fascinators, and Ankara accessories. So if you're a lover of fashion, if you like creating beautiful things for yourself, this channel is for you. So today's fashion DIY is going to be on how to make this Ankara turban cap with a velvet band. So without further ado, let's get started. To make this turban cap, I'll be making use of the following materials. So I have my Ankara fabric, and the measurement I have here is 28 by 30. So 28 is the width and 30 is the length. And I also have my lining. I'm using bridal satin for the lining of this, and the measurement of this lining is the same with the measurement of the Ankara fabric. So this is 28 by 30. So any measurement you are using on the Ankara fabric, let it be exactly the same what you have on the lining. And I have my velvet fabric already cut out. So this is going to serve as the band for this turban cap, and the measurement I have here is 13 by 5 inches. I'll be making use of 2 pieces of this. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place my fabric on the table like this, with the right side facing down and the wrong side facing upward. And the next thing, I'm going to place my satin on my Ankara fabric, wrong side facing wrong side. So after placing your fabric like this, the next thing to do, take this to your sewing machine and sew the 4 corners of this. Just sew the 4 corners. This is just to keep the 2 fabrics together and in place while working. So I've gone ahead to sew the satin to the Ankara fabric. So we now have everything in one piece. So the next thing to do is to make some horizontal lines from this end to this end using an interval of 2 inches. So I finished creating the horizontal lines, and the spaces I have in between my lines are 2 inches. So I gave 2 inches intervals from each lines. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll take this to my sewing machine and I'll be sewing on this line with 1/4 of an inch. So I'll just be sewing this with 1/4 of an inch from this point to this point. I'll be doing the same thing till I get to the end of the line, also I get to the last line. So after sewing, you should have your material looking like this. So this is the back and this is the front part of it. So I'll just keep this aside, and it's time to work on the band of our turban cap. So this is my velvet fabric already cut out. Like I mentioned earlier, the measurements I use for this is 5 by 13 inches, and I'll be needing 2 of this. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll just fold this into 2. I'll fold this into 2 like this. So after folding like this, the next thing to do, on this part where I have my opening, on this part where I have this opening, I will come in by 2 inches. And from this point, I'll just connect, I'll connect this point to this sharp edge, just like this. After marking like this, I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So I'm just going to place this on this and cut out just the same way. So after cutting like this, the next thing I'm going to do, I'll just turn this like this. Then I'll take this point to this point just like this. I'll let these 2 points meet like this, while this one is facing just like this. So this is how to form the V on the band. So I'll just take this to my sewing machine and just sew. So I'm going to be holding this down with my pin before taking it to the sewing machine to sew. So I'll just go and sew like this and like this. So after creating this, I still have some of these parts left open, so I'll just go and close this up. But before closing it up, I'll just fold this in by like 1 inch. Hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to leave this space open, then I'll go ahead and close this up, and I'll be doing the same thing for the other side. So just go in by like 1 inch and close up, leaving these parts open. After sewing my band like this, after closing these sides and leaving this end open, the next thing to do is to attach the band to the turban cap. So before that, I'll just fold this into two, and I'll just fold this into two, and I'll just notch to get the center of my turban cap. This is the center of my turban cap. So the next thing to do is to attach the band to the turban cap. So this is the center of my band. So I'll just place the center. I'll just place this sharp end. Look at this sharp edge. I'll place it to this place where I notched. After placing like this, I'll just shift this out a bit by like 1 inch. You can see what I did. So you can see this sharp edge is not exactly on the place where I notched. So after doing that, and I'll be sewing the band to my turban cap. So after attaching the band to the turban cap, I'll turn this to the wrong side and trim off the excess I have from the band. So just trim off the excess from the band. So after fixing my band, I'll just take this to my sewing machine. I'll just bend this by 1/2 inch, just from this point to this point where I have this Ankara after my band. I'll just bend and close up like this. I'll bend and close this up like this. So after bending this in to hide the roughness on this side, so after bending this in to hide the roughness on this part, the next thing to do is to fold this into two. So I'll fold my turban cap into two like this. And from these points where I have my band, I'll just come out by 2 inches. Come out by 2 inches. So from these 2 inches where I came out from, I'll be sewing like this. From this point, I'll sew from this end to this end, and from this end I'll continue to this end, and from this end I'll sew to this end. So I'll be sewing like this. From this point where I came out by 2 inches, I'll just sew from this point to this point, come down to this point, and finish up. So after sewing like this, remember from the place where I have my band, I came out by 2 inches. So from this point, I started sewing by 1/2 inch to this point and all the way to this point. So the next thing I'm going to do is to turn this. I'll turn this over to the right side. So after turning this to the right side, so the next thing I'm going to do, I will get the center of this. So I'm just going to trace it from this point where my V is. So this is the center. I'll just go ahead and mark this center like this. So after marking, just to get the center of the front part of my turban cap, so the next thing to do, I'll get my needle and thread. So please make sure you double your thread very well. So the next thing I'm going to do, following the lines, I'll take my needle inside like this. Just watch what I'm doing carefully. I'll be using my fingers to bring this together, and as I'm bringing them together, I'll be passing my needle in like this. So watch what I'm doing. I'm just using my needle and thread to gather this together. So see what I'm doing. So I'm just following the lines. So as you can see, I've used my needle to gather everything like this. So I'll go ahead and bring out my needle and thread like this after gathering. So you can see how I've beautifully gathered the front. So the next thing, I'll turn this to the wrong side. So I'm going to turn this over to the wrong side. I'll still be making use of my needle and thread, and I'll be gathering from this point to this point. So I'll just gather like this. So when I get to the end of this, I'll just drag my thread. After dragging my thread, I'll go ahead and secure this very well. So after gathering like this, the next thing I'll do is just to turn this over to the right side. After turning over to the right side, I'll come back to this part where I left open. At this point, I'll be fixing my adjustment strap. You know, this is a non-stretchy fabric, so we'll be needing this adjustment strap so this turban cap can fit any head size, so that you can adjust it to any head size. So I'll just fix the two straps inside this part where I left open, and the length of what I have here is about 10 to 11 inches. So just go in, fix like this, and close up, and do the same for the other side. So after fixing the adjustment strap I'll just wear this on my mannequin head so you can see how beautiful the turban is looking. So after wearing, just knots at the back just to adjust, so you can see how beautiful this is looking. So this is basically all for today's fashion DIY. Thanks for watching, and please do not forget to hit the subscribe button if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, and please give this video a like, share and comment. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next fashion DIY. Bye.